morning. I seem to start every vlog that way at the moment. We're off to Birmingham. Well, the NEC is near Birmingham. We are going to the Campervan and Caravan Show at the NEC. And fairly obviously we've taken Vanly, because why wouldn't you take a Campervan to Campervan Show? We don't have anything in particular that we're really looking for, but just to get some ideas and see what's out there. Maybe want to look at bike racks for the back of the van. What the best option is. I have no idea actually what's going to be there. Everything I've seen so far seems to suggest it's mostly campervans and caravans, but I'm assuming there will be some accessories and bits and pieces. First, we've got something even more fun to do. We're going to the British Dental Trade Association show. That's my day job, not the show, the dentistry. And we're going to go and pick up the year's supply of toothpaste and toothbrushes. So let's carry on to the NEC and let's go and get some toothbrushes. Yay! So we've had lunch now. We went to the dental show this morning. That was not a good dental show. The one in London. If you really want to go to a dental show, the one in London, the dentistry show, is better. They didn't even give us any free toothpaste. So we've come to the Motorhome and Caravan Show. Been having a little look around. We've grabbed some lunch. This is the Birchover Classic, which is essentially a slightly posher take on ours. And it's just really interesting looking at how different people use different bits to create different space. So this one has slightly fewer cupboards at the back, but it means that you get much more work surface space, and it feels a little bit airier and a little bit lighter. Then you lose storage, but then they've added a little bit of extra clever food storage in front of the fridge, which also gives more surface space when it's closed. And it's just looking at how different people organise the space to be able to create different layouts. But the thing that I really love about this, it has a panoramic pop top like ours, but with a fly screen, which is really quite amazing actually. It gives such an airy feel in here, it's quite amazing.
So it looks really cool, but you have to have it open. It has to be ventilation, you can't just have a plastic window, so actually there's only one window there.
So this is another of Birchover's vans. This is again the classic, but it's fascinating seeing that this is £20,000 cheaper than the last one we were in. And the quality of the fixtures and fittings is obviously where they've saved their money. This one, from the outside, is beautiful, really quite stunning. It's the four-wheel drive, 4Motion VW Transporter, which is a very cool van. But on the inside, this is obviously a much more stripped back. It just doesn't quite have the same finish. It's still got some of those nice same details, like the extra work surface space, but it definitely doesn't feel quite as luxurious inside, which is interesting because it actually looks more luxurious from the outside. I'm also not entirely sure about the idea of having a captain's seat when you've got a bulkhead sort of right in front of you. So it's nice it turns around, but I'm not sure it really benefits hugely. So you see, that seems like a sensible option to me, where essentially what you have is the traditional design, i.e. fold down bed, side kitchen, etc. But you take that design and you elevate it by putting some unusual features in it. So stuff like that infinity curve that Three Bridges have got, that's really quite stunning. And then the induction hob, which just finishes off. So yeah, I like that a lot. Three Bridges, definitely going to keep an eye on them. So this is Rolling Holmes's VW Campervan. I have to say their cabinetry is
Good.
significantly better.
Yeah, really nice.
Beautifully done. Emma works as or for a cabinet makers, so cabinetry is one of her interests.
Good.
Oh, it's another pointless cupboard. Is it essential that every campervan has to have a pointless cupboard?
Yeah.
So this is 118 grand's worth of interior finishing. And it shows.
It's nice. I don't actually know if it is Corian, but it feels like Corian. Or Hymax or something like that. Nice. Yeah, these are easiest.
So, although there is still a bulkhead in front of this swivelling seat, it makes a lot more sense than the other one because A, it swivels most of the way, and the fridge doesn't come out as fast, so you can actually sit at an angle and still enjoy it. Yeah, this is definitely high-end interior fittings. I'm assuming these are springs for the bed. So tell me your thoughts on this one, EB.
I would say if we were going to get a crafter size van, this probably would work reasonably well because it's got a pop top, bed and roof, but you still can't stand up in it, so...
Only a mild problem.
Yeah.
So part of my issue with like the crafter and the sprinter type vans is although they're high tops, it's not that high a top, particularly when they put a step in. It becomes a bit of an issue because this is me just stood at normal height. So I can stand in this bit, but this is the only bit that I can actually stand up at in the van. Same problem again.
What is this?
Every time a winner.
Also, I know this is quite a common thing, but I find it a bit weird that you block off half the door with your cabinetry. How exactly do you think you keep the rest of the van dry when you're having a shower? You fix the shower curtain there. And how would I stand up? And it's a good idea. But yeah. So this is quite an interesting, different approach to a traditional campervan layout where you've got a sliding rib bed at the front, kitchen at the back, with a reverse pop top, and then sleeping upstairs. So it's a 4-berth with a slightly better kitchen that you can actually access when the bed is down as well. My only worry about it is that my feet will get very claustrophobic while I was actually in the bed, or I'd end up bruising my shins. One of the two. One of my other issues with the crafter sprinter ones is often the beds are sideways, which is fine if you're under 5'6", but I'm not. So it becomes a little bit more tricky. So this one solves some of that issue, where it is a short wheelbase van, but it's got a pop-out back, so it means that you can sleep long ways. If you could get, the problem is, it's very narrow. So actually getting through it is a bit tricky. So this is quite an interesting one. This is bunk beds at the back, single bunk at the top, and then you can have a double bed actually down at the bottom. This extends right down. You have an enormous fridge, like properly massive fridge. Decent sized wet room. And
Is that quite an
actually,
easy process?
I can stand up in here. So this one is obviously either roof is a little bit higher or the ceiling's a little bit, floor's a little bit lower. But then this drops down to produce another double bed at the front. So you've got a lot of space and a lot of height. This one seems like a really good option. Yeah, this is the Dreamer Camper 5, and actually it's remarkably good value, what it does. Yeah, I like that a lot. I've not seen a layout that is quite so good for everything we actually want. Yeah, this is an Auto Trail, but it's a much bigger van than ours, but I think it's less roomy. I don't think they've used the space particularly efficiently. Think we should get a rear cupboard?
Quite tempted for these.
So, what have you learnt so far?
I don't know what I meant so far.
As with any giant trade show, you get the standards, like the easy knife and a maize sponge and the wonderful Zim. Into the Zim, out the Zim, up to the light, nice and bright. But I have been quite confused by why you've got UPVC cleaning window products, card safe for your contactless cards, and hair removal that I saw earlier, which was a little bit odd. I think it's fair to say you really don't want someone to open the back door mid-flow. I think one of the things that we have learned is the quality of the build of Vanlife is phenomenal. Lee has done an amazing job on the cabinetry and the build quality. Seeing some of these other vans, not this one in particular, because I feel like I'm pointing at this one, but not this one. Some of the vans, you just realise that the fit-outs aren't actually that higher quality. They might have nice components, but then you can just see sealant in places and you can see edges that shouldn't be seen and so on and so forth. So I think what we've realised is we love our van, which we knew anyway, but we're also realising there are a couple of little things. This van, for example, has windows everywhere. So ours, we have the window in the door that would be here, and we have a small window just over there. But actually this also has windows on both sides at the back. Again, it's all about compromise. You lose some of the storage space, but it does feel very light and airy. I was quite impressed with the Crafter that we just looked at, because one of our issues, I like the idea of a Crafter or a Sprinter van because it gives you more space, but every single one of them, essentially all it is a fixed bed and a toilet. That's what you get as a benefit over a transporter. And so for something of that size, I think there should be a better utilisation of space. And some of them clearly do. And so it's really interesting to see how some of them are actually organising themselves. I really like that one. I also think some of the more unusual layouts that they're trying in transporters are fascinating. But this system works so well, I'm not entirely sure why you then try and chase and change and go for something completely different. But yeah, no, it's exciting. Let's go and carry on having a look around.
See, I always find it fascinating that they do these alternative layouts for VWs and such. And so this one has a kitchen and a toilet, which is great. But then your sleeping area has to be converted and table taken away, and so you do get, it's all the compromise. It's all about how you compromise to create different shapes. And so in here you've got a nice social area, you've got a decent kitchen, and you've got a toilet and a shower. But the sleeping arrangement is a bit annoying.
And this place, I don't know how to explain just how big it actually is. But essentially, we've been in here for 2 hours. I don't think we've been dawdling, and we've been missing out quite a lot. And we've covered a third of it. Yeah, this is enormous. So this is the VW Grand California. Actually, this one's definitely better for the headspace.
You just roll it down. It rolls down and then this just flaps over. And then you've got a set of ladders here that you can just take down and attach into this to climb up. So it's a good size for kids, a couple of kids, but it's because of how the roof tapers towards the front of the van, it's not really long enough from an adult perspective, whereas you've got the double bed at the back here, which is kind of really designed for adults.
With that double bed,
This bed lifts, and then these strap in behind to hold the bed up.
you almost use that as like a bench seat or something?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, legally no, so you can't travel with that. These are the seats, but yeah. So if you wanted to, yeah. So we've had a lot of people talking about putting things in here through the thoroughfare because these lift up as well. So bikes, surfboards, all sorts of things. So it gives you a bit more usable space. And then the table, which you'll just do there, is just tucks in and straps underneath as well. So it all tucks away quite nicely. But obviously you can travel with it up or down.
I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
One thing I would say about that new Grand California is, while there's a lot of storage in the garage, they've only got these little overhead lockers everywhere else. I don't think that's great storage.
So I think we're now coming to the end of the campervan sections. We've done the campervan sections. I think we're now getting into motorhomes, and then we'll get into caravans. Caravans, I'm not sure how keen we're to look at, so we might have a quick peek around some of them. We don't know a huge amount about caravans, so it's going to be interesting. The video is probably not going to be so useful because at the moment I don't know that much about caravans. But yeah, we're going to have a look at motorhomes. My biggest issue with most motorhomes is the width. Even just like the door to get in, I find I'm a little bit too wide to get in. This one has plenty of space, but I suspect this one is also horrifically expensive, judging by the very plush decor and the fact that the bed has its very own island. So my new favourite thing is when you come into these massive, amazing luxury motorhomes, 120, 150 plus £1,000. Somebody comes and goes, "Oh, but there's not a table exactly where I thought I might need one." No, there's a whirlpool spa in the back room and the entire ceiling turns into a bed and there's a lazy boy hiding behind every corner. But you're absolutely right. There. Yeah, bloody hell is right. Like, honestly, this one's got a private bathroom suite, but there's not a table where they need one.
Like, this is beyond. That's a nicer shower than we've got at home.
Yeah.
So this is Roller Team. The first campervan that we used, motorhome that we used, was a Roller Team. And I quite like them. They're sort of simple, but there's actually far more space in here than actually in a lot of the other ones. And this is quite a big one, but just the fact there's actually the width to be able to walk through without bashing off stuff. You see, I heard about the Lego Caravan, but I didn't think they would have quite gone to the detail of even doing the gas burners and the upholstery. Having said that, I didn't really get caravans. This is good.
How cute.
Yeah, I get this. I think
what I sort of struggle with is the real proper. Well, I don't know if do they call it touring caravans, but it's not really touring caravans, because touring caravans actually means they go into a caravan park and they stay in a caravan park for 8 weeks and don't do anything other than watch TV. Whereas this seems to me like a. Like every time I start talking, somebody comes into the caravan. Yeah, I like this. This is bigger than the other one, but I like these little caravans that essentially, I guess it's like our campervan just without a motor on it. And this makes so much more sense to me than getting one of the enormous ones. It's not that I'm against the big Winnebago style motorhomes or the massive touring style caravans. This seems to make more sense to me in terms of what we want to do. It's quite cute. Plus the idea that actually in the future with kids or anything like that, with grown-up children, with smaller children, the T5 that we've got would be brilliant because we could easily sleep them just in the top of the pop top. With more grown-up children or with friends, if you could then tow a small caravan like the last one we were in, essentially what you've immediately done is just extended how many people can sleep and live in there, because as much as I love my cousins, they've suggested that they could come on a tour with us, and I just don't think we could fit 4 adults in there on a regular basis. This is the Ariba Troll 530 Rockabilly, and yeah, we've got an Ariba in the family. My uncle and aunt have an Ariba, and they're a fascinating thing. If you don't know them, they have a pop-up roof, but only a little pop-up roof. Essentially, it means it's a much lower caravan to tow when you're towing it, so I think that means it's more aerodynamic and a little bit easier to tow. But then you pop the top up and suddenly you've got headroom. And actually, even for me, in the middle of it, that was much closer to my head than I thought it was. Yep. So I don't have a lot of space, but I do have space. Like, Emma for scale. I get the point of these. If you're going to the US, where you've got long straight roads and thousands of miles to cross, great. And I'm assuming that some people will come here to buy them for that market or for the European market. But can you imagine trying to get around the Hebrides in one of them? I think I'm just not thinking big enough. That's probably my fault. So this one may be a little bit more sensible, but I have to say, what I really like is the garages, which I know they're nothing new, I know they're nothing that special, but we don't have one on our transporter. And just the sheer volume of stuff that you could chuck in there. I love it. A couple of bikes, paddleboard, canoe or two. Yeah, amazing. So this is the Swift base camp, which is very neat and tidy. Nice kitchen, pop-up electrics, and a toilet and shower. Yeah. Simple. But as Emma says, I don't understand how they can feel so big from the outside when they look so little. No, so big on the inside and they feel so little on the outside. I know this probably marks me out as a complete imbecile, but I genuinely had no idea that these proper motorhomes had no driver's door. Like, there's no driver's door. You can't get out. I had no idea. It's a passenger door. Yeah, genuinely didn't know. So we're back in Vanley. Yeah, that was great. That was, yeah, really interesting actually. And I don't think we need to go every year. I think there were some people that do go every year. It was a fascinating mix of people. I'm not sure how many people were there to buy, how many people already own motorhomes and they were kind of just looking. It was, yeah, I'd kind of like to find out more about who goes. But yeah, it's interesting. It's good. Really good. Learned a lot. What have we learned? We have learned that we love Vanley. Actually, it's... I don't feel that what we've got isn't what we need or anything like this is perfect. But I love it. What I would like to do... Vanley is not the most beautiful van in the world. And so we're talking about what the options are in terms of pimping him up, I guess, and just making the outside look a little bit more van life. I get a lot of people in trade vans waving at me rather than campervans as I'm driving along, which is fine, but I do think he could look a little bit sexier. Little things like maybe just changing wheels, maybe getting a wrap done on it. The biggest thing that actually I'd really like to get, and I have last couple of weeks, it's become obvious, I'd like to get a bike rack. So they didn't have any obvious bike racks for the back of the van. One thing I did see was, yeah, what I wanted was a door mounted one that would mount on the barn doors, but please, if you know of anything, put it in the comments below. But it seems that actually getting a barn door mounted rack might be difficult because of the weight of it on just one hinged door. But you can get a hinging tow bar mounted bike rack that essentially, the problem with the tow bar mounted bike rack is obviously then if you want to open the back door you can't get in the back door, but this one swings out like a back door and allows you full access in the back, which I thought was a very good idea. So we could look at something like that. But yeah, it was good. It was really good, actually. I'm really glad we saw some of the Sprinter and Crafter options that would work well for us, because previously I've thought that actually, while they're good in theory, most of the examples I'd seen just wouldn't really work for us. So it's nice that we could get one of them if we wanted to go slightly bigger. And I'm also glad we got a chance to just go and explore in the ridiculously big, crazy motorhomes and caravans. Yeah, it's an interesting layout. At each end, when you enter, it's in a U shape. And at each end of the U, there is lots of accessories and gadgets and camping tables and chairs and all the accessories that you could possibly need. And in the middle section does feel a little bit like a giant showground, which I guess is exactly what it is. what was interesting, we didn't actually get approached by any salespeople at all today, and I don't know whether that annoyed me or not. In as much as actually it was quite nice I didn't have to say, no, I'm sorry, we're just looking. And I'm sure if we'd hung around and looked like we were looking for help, we would have been immediately approached. But it also meant that actually sometimes trying to get some extra information about what we were looking at was a little bit more tricky. But it was, yeah, it is essentially just a big showground of all of the big caravans and campervans and motorhomes in the middle of it, which, if that's what you want, go for it. It's great. It's just nice to go and play house and go and look at all the fun things and see all the ridiculous vehicles and go, yeah, I'd love this if we were doing an American road trip. So yeah, I would recommend it if you want to go and see it. It's even if it's just something that you're vaguely interested in, it will help convince you whether you want one or you don't want one. So thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you'd like to. Subscribe if you'd like to, because yeah, my subscriber count is fascinating. 96% of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so it would be really lovely if we could boost that number slightly. So if you'd like to subscribe, please do. And otherwise, thank you very much, and I'm sure there'll be more campervan adventures soon. Bye bye.